college marks the opportunity for many students to leave home for the first time and experience campus life. For parents, having their child live away from home could be daunting, especially when sexual violence on campus has become pervasive. Washington Post reports approximately 1 in 5 female students and 1 in 20 male students are victimized while living on or near campus at a four-year college. Now, fortunately, there are plenty of resources and tools parents can use to maintain a healthy conversation with their child and seek action when necessary. Now, we bring you a look at our recent collaboration with Reach Beyond Domestic Violence as they hosted employees from surrounding colleges to provide tips for parents of prospective college students.
So I'm hoping that our panelists, to wrap us up today, can leave our audience members with some really tangible ideas and tips on how they can start the conversation or how they can continue the conversation with their loved ones as they get ready to leave for college, but again, even way before that, how can we bring these conversations home? So Karin, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. I think really the most important thing is that if their first conversation around consent or incapacitation or sexual or domestic violence is with me as a professor or their Title IX or someone on the college campus, it's really too late. And that it should be a conversation in your home, with your family, with whoever it is identifies as a guardian of your children. I have teenage boys and we talk about consent all the time. We talk about boundaries all the time. We talk about how do you stand up as a friend. If you hear things like victim blaming, we start to define that. They know definitions. And those conversations are one that happen very organically. If a case comes up or they tell me a story, oh, my friend spends all his time with his girlfriend or her girlfriend, we talk about that. Well, what do you think's going on and why is that? And do you see power dynamics? And those are things that parents can do in a very natural, transparent way, but let them know that we're open and available to have those conversations, because when they need you, they'll then come back knowing that the door's already been open for you.
Wonderful, thank you. Rame, what would you add to the conversation?
I think it's important to also not only kind of learn about the resources that kind of exist not only in the local community, but also kind of online as well. So in addition to having conversations, maybe being able to direct them to resources is great. And one in particular is Know Your Nine, which I think is an incredible resource that talks about the rights and options that are available for individuals. Now I know that kind of speaks more specifically in the Title IX spaces, but I think in addition to having open dialogues about consent, really being able to kind of engage in conversations about what healthy relationships look like as well, is something that's kind of really important. And if you kind of figure out where you're going to college, again, take advantage of the opportunities and looking up what different types of resources might exist in the local community, and also kind of online through the annual security report that's required on every college campus's website.
And Ashleigh, last but not least.
So I think that there's a lot of different ways to think about this question, but when I think about some of my answers, things really fall into one of two categories: role modeling or empowerment. As Karin said, this conversation needs to happen early and often about things that might be unhealthy or higher risk, or when to step in and ask for help. I also think we need to be talking early and often about what is healthy and what consent does look like, and some of those pieces too, to make sure that we have a normalization and a destigmatized conversation with our young people about this. And also, when we think about empowering our young people, first and foremost, give your students access to information. It's very difficult, I think, for parents to sort of drop their kids off at school or at a university, and part of that is sort of renegotiating the terms of information about one person's young life. And I think that beginning to give access can be a critical step, and also understanding what role they've got on their campuses. First, understanding that these types of things that we've talked about today in the panel, they happen in our students' spaces and places, more so than ours. And it's important to just acknowledge that and empower our students to make change. And then that's really the second piece, is really tell them. You have the opportunity to change the culture around you. You have a voice. I tell my students all the time, sort of what you said, that this matters on Babson's campus when you decide that it does. And so teach them to be a disruptor, to challenge behavior, to be an interventionist, to be a role model, and to leave their campus better than when they started.